Today is the 4th day of Av and the, I guess, 9th of August? Something like that? 8th of August. Okay. So we're in chapter 13 and we're looking at one particular kavana in the 6 words of the Shema. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And what we saw so far is that Shema Yisrael is when you address the infinite. That's through the heart. It's listening, it's paying attention, but it's not actually listening. And then Havaya Elokeinu, we said, is wisdom and understanding. That's the yichud of Abba and Ima, the father and mother. And then we have Hashem Echad, and he told us that this is Za and Nukva. This is the emotive faculties and the feminine, the Malchus. Okay, so what we saw was that Echad is like preparing us for Ochlifu Duchtayu, for the switch that's going to happen, the trading places. Now, we also talked about it saying Echad and not Yachid. That you can't say Echad about Hashem. Very, very, very important. You can't say Echad, you can't say one about the infinite revelation of Hashem. Why? Because Echad assumes that there's possible that there's two. And that's what we said, that if you have two that are disputing, then you have to say they're one. But you can't say that about Hashem because there's no dispute, there's no two. So you don't have to say, oh, this is not two, it's one. It's not in order to negate the possibility of plurality, because there is no plurality. So the number one doesn't fit. That's what we said yesterday. Number one is always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. It's one of the numbers. So there must be 2 and 3 and 4. So in Hebrew you don't use number one to designate Hashem's singularity. The fact that he's singular. And the same thing in English. You say 1, it also means 2, 3, 4. If you want to say that something is unique and not related to plurality, you say singularity. You say singular. So really, the translation is correct. It says, Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. Therefore, it's not referring to Hashem who's before creation. It's only referring to Hashem who we need to unify after there's creation. Okay? So we're unifying in some sense, we're saying he's one, in the same way that we said about the dispute between Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. We have to say, Divrei Elokim Chaim. We noted that that's also the initials of one. But the idea that it's one that comes out of plurality. It's negating plurality. If we would have meant by this one, the one who is before creation, we wouldn't have said Echad, we would have said Yachid. But Yachid means singular. And that's something else. Okay, so this, therefore, is talking about Zun. This is talking about Zera Anpin and Nukva, where you have the need to unify them together, to bring them together.
Echad is connected with what precedes
unification.
Yes.
It's a unification already. And that's a very important point. That's discussed. I don't know who the first one to discuss this is, but in Chassidus this is everywhere. Everybody talks about this in Chassidus. I don't know where this started. In any case. V'inei b'pratut hakavana aleph chet u'teisha sfirot. Then we said that now you can take the word one and you can also analyze it. If this is related to the emotive faculties, so again, you have to feel comfortable a little with the Kabbalistic terminology. Kabbalistic terminology says there's sfirot and partzufim. This is a chiddush from the Arizal, from Rabbi Zakluria. What he noted is that in the Zohar only talks about, or seems to only talk about sfirot. It doesn't only talk about sfirot, it also talks about other things. But it seems to. And then you see that sometimes the sphere of wisdom is here, and sometimes it's there, and sometimes doing this, and sometimes doing that. And they seem to even be contradictory sometimes. So what's his solution? There's context. The context is called the partzuf. Partzuf is a persona. And every partzuf is made out of 10 sfirot. Sometimes they have 9, sometimes they have 11. Not for now. But in principle, they're all made out of 10 sfirot. Okay? So, Ze'er Anpin, which we've been calling the emotive faculties, And if we want to say what are the main faculties of Za, Zeir and Pin, the small continents, we'd say it's from loving kindness to foundation, these 6. Because what represents also Zeir and Pin in God's 4-letter name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the Vav. So 6 is a nice number to associate with it, but it's not the right number. Why is it not the right number? Because Za, maybe he starts out having 6, but when he's mature, when he's complete, he has 10 sfirot like everyone. So he has 10 sfirot. So where are these 10 sfirot? So he says the Aleph Chet of Echad, the first 2 letters of Echad, Aleph and Chet, they're equal to 9. So that represents the first 9 sfirot of Zeir and Pin. And the Daled always is like a shortening of God's name Adni. Aleph Daled Nun Yud, because the Daled there is very unique. Hashem's the letter Daled doesn't appear in any other name of Hashem, so it's very special. So we usually associate the letter Daled with Malchus, because Adni is the name that's associated with Malchus. We already have enough terminology to understand that each one of the Sfirot has a certain name associated with it. Okay, so now he writes, Ken, it's 4. So you would say it's the 4th. Like you would say it's the 4th. It's Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's the 4th letter. Hey. Okay.
No, but it's talking about 9 sfirot.
Right, 9 and 1.
Dalet is 4.
But Dalet represents Malchus. It just represents Malchus. It's not a number here. We're not using it as a number.
Using the letters.
Right. And here, meaning the numerical value. And here, Dalet, it's not necessarily the numerical value. It's more the Adni, the name Adni, but again, it's also 4. Why? Because it's the 4th. Not 4, but 4th. Revi'i. What's the Revi'i? What's the 4th? Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. So the 4th letter is the Hey, that's Malchus also. Or if you want to go by worlds, so you say Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. Asiya is Malchus. So 4 is also related to Malchus. There's another thing about 4. This is discussed everywhere. This is not just...
When you said that thinking Shema, you said Dalet Luchas Shema.
Right. That's a different kavanah. It's entirely... But not Dalet Luchot HaShamayim in the Shamayim, not the 4 directions in the heavens. It's the 4 directions in earth. It's really Arba Kanfot HaAretz. It's really the 4 extremes of the earth. Because the Dalet here is the earth. Because it's come down from Aleph, from Hashem, all the way through the 7 firmaments and the earth. And then the 4...
Why are you calling it Dalet?
Because that's how people call it. But really we mean the Shemaim that's in the Aretz. But it's the Dalet Luchot and the Aretz. Because otherwise, right, it's the expanse that I feel, the space that I feel. So there's something more also. The Dalet... There's a whole question whether 2 is an even number. I don't want to get into it. But 4 is definitely an even number. That nobody has any questions about. Now there's an ancient thing, this is already in the Pythagoreans. We don't know where they got it from. It could be that it's a natural human inclination to say this. It could be that it's something that they got from the prophets, because Pythagoras was in the Middle East. He did travel to the Middle East, meaning he went from Greece to the Middle East, and according to them, he met Jeremiah. There's all kinds of stories. In any case, the Pythagoreans had this thing that all the even numbers are feminine, and all the odd numbers are masculine. And this is the same in Kabbalah also. All the same. You get a hint of this even in the Talmud. I don't want to say where, not to offend women. But there's a thing about this also. So, Daled, as 4, being an even number, is associated with a feminine also. In that sense also. There's a lot of imagery, a lot of symbolism. Somebody could come and say, oh, this is all very arbitrary. I could have derived other imagery and symbolism and something like that. Okay, maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. In any case. There's another thing. Daled Rabati. It's not a regular Dalet. It's 4 times the size of a regular Dalet. It's more like 16 actually. Because it's a Dalet that's written 4 times the regular size. Called a major Dalet. It's a large Dalet in the Sefer Torah. There are 2 letters in the Shema that are large. The Ayin and the Dalid. Okay.
Yeah. The Dalid is large too.
Yeah, it's a large Dalid. Why is it a large Dalid? So he says, Hi B'chinat Le'ah. B'chinat Dibur Shebamachshava U'lefichach Hi Dalid Rabati. He says this is not the regular feminine. It's not the regular Malchus at all. Malchus in general is speech. The world of action is the world of speech also. Why? Because if you're a king, Amar Malka Akar Tura. A king does by speaking. The rest of us have to actually do. So the world of action is mostly actions done with the hands. But really it's guided by the speech. So many times we say that there are two feminine figures in the Torah. Who are the two feminine figures? Rachel and Leah, the two sisters who were married to Yaakov. Leah represents the world of thought, and Rachel represents speech. That's how we understand them. That there's the feminine is in the thought, and it's in the speech. By feminine we mean that thought and speech are not where things originate. They're the canvas on which they're written. So in the mind, the words are written without speaking them, in thinking. In the body, the words are written by speaking them. That's how you actually write the words on the world. Like even we say that the tongue is like a kulmus. The tongue is like a pen or a stylus. Really, it's the quilt, right? A quill, sorry, not a quilt.
It says here, it's Dibur Shebamachshava.
Right. So now he says,
Only machshava.
right, it's just machshava. But here it's saying that I hear the words that I'm thinking. It's not enough for me. It's not like Shmonesla. Shmonesla I actually have to make the words pronounced. I have to be able to hear them, even if I don't hear them. But I have to be able to hear them. Here I have to hear the words in my mind. So that's what he says, that's the Dalid Rabati, because this is Dalid Rabati, the large Dalid indicates this is not Rachel, this is Leah. And since it's Leah, but still this is Malchus of Leah, so this is the speech within thought. So there's a very particular kavana here. What does this mean? That when, in the end I want to hear, right? We said Shema Yisrael, you should hear this. So we said in the beginning, I hear it in my heart. I don't really hear it. I don't speak. It's not that I need to hear it with my ears. I hear it within my heart. But he says, even though this is the mind's eye and the heart, you have to be able to hear it in the mind's eye. It's not just to. It's like you're vocalizing it internally. That's it. ואחר כך ברור שאין כבוד מלכות העולם ואין. היא בחינת רחל מלכות דאצילות שמתלבשת בגיל ומלומות ביאה. But then we have an actual something that we do say. We say this, we pronounce this, and Yaakov pronounced it loud and clear, and we say it quietly because Moshe didn't write it in the Torah, but it's known that Yaakov said this. Baruch shein kvod malchuto le'olam va'ed. So that, he says, that's Rachel. That's already speech. So if you're looking for the two feminines here, the first one is in the large Dalet, the second one is the added verse, which again is one of these things that people can miss. They may think this is from Chazal, this is a Rabbanan, this is something. No, this is Torah. Except that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't write this. For whatever reason. This is the original Torah Sheba'al Peh in the Torah Shebechtav. If you have to say, where do we know that there's Torah Sheba'al Peh? How do we know that there's an oral tradition in the Chumash? Because we have this verse that's not written in. It's simply not written in. But we all say it. How do we know? Because we know that this is how Yaakov said it. And Moshe Rabbeinu, for his reasons, didn't put it in. Why did he not put it in? Exactly for the reason why he didn't go into the land of Canaan. He didn't guide the people in conquering the land. Because this is the speech of a king who goes to conquer. This is not like Moshe Rabbeinu is thought. His world is the world of thought. It's not the world of action. It says even that he didn't understand the world of action. He has this issue. He's not well versed in the world of action. He's too far away from this world. He's detached to a certain extent, which is why he wasn't the one to lead us in. In the end, it was Yeshua. Now, this speech, when you say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchut Olam Ved, this is already bringing it all down into the three lower worlds, meaning everything we did here in Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, we're in the world of Atzilus. That's what he started with. If you remember, the first thing we learned was that we sit down, we're like in the world of Bria, because sitting down is always in the world of creation, but what the kavanah we have is in the world of Atzilus. Everything we're doing in Shema Yisrael is in the world of Atzilus. Meaning, what's the difference? That there's only consciousness of Hashem there. There's no consciousness of a separate reality. But when you say Baruch Shem Kvod Malchut Olam Ved, you're already bringing what you took from the Shema down into the separate worlds. So the rest now, from here and on, Va'afta and so on, that's already going to be within the three lower worlds. And the three worlds, they themselves, even though this is not yet the three worlds, but this is what's going to go into the three worlds, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchut Olam Ved. So the first three words, Baruch Shem, not the first three. Shem Kvod Malchuso. These are three words that mean the same thing. Shem, a name, Kavod, which people translate as like honor. But really, Shem is they're all three of them are levushim. All three of them are garments. A shem, a name, is a garment that I wear. It's not me. So you call me by my name, I look at you. But it's not me. I don't refer to myself by my name. I don't need that. Because it's just a garment that I wear for the outside. People make sometimes too much out of names. Sometimes not. Because Rabbi Meir says, Shma Kagarim. Rabbi Meir in the Talmud, he says, everything goes after the name. Okay, so everything in this world goes after the name you make for yourself. But really the essence is in Tzilus, where there's no name. You don't need a name there. Everything is known by itself. Kavod, that's definitely a garment. The honor that a person has, the clout that he has, the name that he's made for himself, that's honor. Your honor. And finally, Malchus is exactly that. To have a kingdom is exactly not me. It's not the king. The king is a person, and he's running the kingdom. The kingdom is his garment, is what he wears. So these three words, they mean that actually they're almost synonyms. Shem Kvod Malchuso. ונמצא שעניין פסוק זה הוא התלבשות והמשכת האור והחיות בתוספת עילוי רב מן המקור הראשון, הוא האור אינסוף, על ידי אבא ואמא, עד שנמשך גם כן בזון, כדי להתלבש בביאה, שיהיה לו דירה בתחתונים. So the summary is that we went all the way from where Hashem has no name, the original source of everything. We brought it down thanks to Abba and Ima, Hashem Elokeinu. That was the nullification of Abba, of Father, Havaya, and then it being put into understanding, into Bina, and then being handed over to Hashem Echad, the Zun, the unification of Zera and Pin and Nukva. And finally we say, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchut Olam Ved. That's how to bring it down in three lower worlds, and the three lower worlds themselves are the intent we have when we say Shem Kvod Malchuso. Okay, and that's the end of chapter 13. So tomorrow we'll start getting into. So this was very, very detailed, and tomorrow he'll go back to discussing things on a more conceptual level. So hang in there.